Something big just dropped, and it's the kind of story that flips the narrative completely. For years, certain voices in media and activism have pointed fingers, labeling artists, organizations, and entire audiences as dangerous, extreme, or worse. From country music stars to political youth groups, the accusations were loud, constant, and everywhere. But now, the spotlight has shifted. Because the very organization that helped define what counts as hate in America is now facing serious federal charges. Allegations that, if proven true, would shake its credibility to the core. And the question everyone's asking is simple. What happens when the watchdog becomes the one under investigation? Let's break this down. For years, the Southern Poverty Law Center, better known as the SPLC, positioned itself as a kind of referee in America's cultural and political landscape. Their hate map became widely cited. Media outlets referenced it. Institutions relied on it. And being listed on it. That carried real consequences. Groups like Turning Point USA found themselves labeled alongside some of the most extreme organizations in US history. The SPLC claimed that certain messaging promoted fear-based narratives, but critics argued those labels blurred the line between political disagreement and extremism. And it wasn't just organizations. Artists got pulled into it too. When Kid Rock performed at a high-profile event tied to Turning Point USA, critics were quick to frame it as controversial. But from his perspective, it wasn't about politics, it was about music, fans, and identity. He stood on stage and framed it as a celebration, not division. Still, the narrative had already been shaped. Then came the storm around Try That in a Small Town by Jason Aldean. Almost immediately, the song sparked intense debate. Some critics labeled it as coded or controversial. Others defended it, pointing out that the lyrics themselves never explicitly referenced race. The divide was sharp and familiar. But here's what made it different. The backlash didn't slow it down. The song climbed the charts. Fans rallied behind it. And instead of backing away, Aldean leaned in, standing by his message and his audience. At the same time, events like Kid Rock's festivals were being branded politically by critics, sometimes dismissed as more about ideology than entertainment. But for fans attending those shows, the experience told a different story. Music, community, and identity wrapped into one. And that disconnect, between perception and experience, kept growing. Now, here's where things take a dramatic turn. According to recent claims circulating online, the SPLC has allegedly been indicted by the US Department of Justice on charges including fraud and financial misconduct. These claims also allege misuse of donor funds and connections that contradict the organization's public stance. However, this is critical. As of now, there is no widely confirmed, credible reporting from major verified sources confirming these specific charges or details. That matters. Because in today's media environment, narratives can spread fast, especially when they reinforce existing beliefs. Names like Kash Patel and Todd Blanche have been mentioned in connection with these claims, but again, verification is key. If such an indictment were confirmed, it would be one of the most significant developments in modern political advocacy history. But until then, it sits in a space that demands caution. Not dismissal, but not blind acceptance either. Regardless of where the truth ultimately lands, this moment reveals something deeper. Trust is fragile. For years, audiences were told who to believe, what to reject, and which voices to question. And many went along with it. But others didn't. Country music fans, in particular, have built a reputation for loyalty, to artists, to storytelling, and to what they see as authenticity. That's why figures like Kid Rock and Jason Aldean resonate so strongly. Not because they avoid controversy, but because they face it head-on. And when accusations fly, whether from media, organizations, or online movements, fans don't always accept them at face value anymore. They ask questions. They compare narratives. They decide for themselves. What makes this story so explosive isn't just the allegations, it's the power of labeling. For over a decade, the Southern Poverty Law Center has played a major role in shaping how certain groups are perceived. When they labeled an organization, that label didn't stay contained, it spread. Media outlets echoed it. Social platforms amplified it. And before long, it became part of the public consciousness. That's how narratives are built. Take Turning Point USA. Once placed on that map, the conversation around them shifted almost overnight. Supporters saw it as political targeting. Critics saw it as validation. But here's the bigger question. Who decides where the line is drawn? Because once a label sticks, it's almost impossible to remove. And that's where artists like Kid Rock come in. He didn't just perform, he pushed back against the idea that attending or supporting certain events automatically placed someone in a box. To him, it wasn't about ideology, it was about identity, freedom, and audience connection. And that's a message that resonated far beyond one stage. Country music has always lived at the intersection of storytelling and real life. But in recent years, that intersection has become a battleground. When Jason Aldean released Try That in a Small Town, it didn't just become a hit, it became a symbol. To some, it represented values and community. To others, it represented something more controversial. And that divide, it wasn't really about the song. It was about what people believed the song stood for. That's the moment when music stops being just music and becomes something bigger. Meanwhile, artists like Kid Rock leaned into independence, building their own platforms, organizing their own events, and speaking directly to fans without relying on traditional gatekeepers. That shift matters, because it shows that the relationship between artist and audience is evolving. Less filtered, more direct, and in many ways, more powerful than ever. Now let's address the question sitting at the center of everything. What if these allegations are actually proven true? If the Southern Poverty Law Center were found guilty of the kinds of actions being claimed, fraud, misuse of funds, or contradicting its public mission, it wouldn't just be a scandal. It would be a collapse of credibility. Because their authority has always come from trust. Governments, media organizations, and institutions have relied on their research and designations for years. Entire reputations have been shaped by their classifications. So if that foundation cracks, the ripple effects would be massive. Past designations would be questioned. Media narratives would be re-examined. And individuals or groups who felt unfairly targeted would demand answers. But, and this is just as important, if the allegations don't hold up, then this becomes something else entirely. A case study in how quickly misinformation can spread. A reminder of how narratives can be weaponized from any direction. And proof that in today's digital world, perception can move faster than truth. Either way, the outcome matters. Because it's not just about one organization, it's about how information itself is created, distributed, and believed. There's one more layer to this story that can't be ignored. The audience. For a long time, people consumed headlines passively. They trusted institutions to filter truth from noise. But that's changing. Today's audience questions everything. They compare sources. They watch full clips instead of sound bites. They listen directly to artists instead of relying on commentary. And in stories like this, that shift becomes obvious. Fans of Kid Rock didn't wait for critics to define his performance, they watched it themselves. Fans of Jason Aldean didn't rely on headlines, they listened to the song and made their own call. That independence is powerful. Because it changes who controls the narrative. Not media outlets, so now the question isn't just what's true. It's who gets to decide what's true. A major organization faces serious allegations. Artists once labeled controversial continue to thrive. And audiences are no longer sitting quietly on the sidelines. They're watching. They're questioning. And they're choosing for themselves. Whether this story ends in confirmation or collapse, one thing is certain. The era of blind trust is over. And the next chapter, it's going to be written in real time, by facts, by voices, and by the people paying attention. So where do you stand? Drop your thoughts below. And if you want more breakdowns like this, raw, unfiltered, and straight to the point, hit subscribe and stay tuned. Because stories like this, they're just getting started. Not organizations. Not even influencers. But the audience itself. And before we come to the end of this video, I just want to take a moment to say a very big thank you to all of you for watching. Your time truly means a lot. In a world where there are thousands of videos you could be watching right now, the fact that you chose to spend a few minutes here with me on Hajara Rama TV is something I truly appreciate. This channel continues to grow because of viewers like you. Every view, every comment, and every bit of support helps this community become stronger. And that's what makes creating these videos so rewarding. If you enjoyed this video, please take a quick moment to like the video, leave a comment below, and share it with your friends or anyone who might enjoy this content. Your interaction really helps the channel reach more people who love stories, entertainment, and updates just like you do. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, Hajara Rama TV, and turn on the notification bell so you'll always be among the first to know when a new video is uploaded. There are many more exciting videos coming your way very soon, and I would love for you to be part of this journey as the channel continues to grow. I also enjoy hearing your thoughts, so feel free to drop your opinions, ideas, or suggestions in the comment section. Your voice matters here, and your feedback helps make Hajara Rama TV even better. Once again, thank you so much for watching and for being part of this amazing community. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, stay entertained, and keep watching Hajara Rama TV.